1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
It's July 13th, 2023, and you're watching episode 343 of the PHP Ugly podcast, the only podcast that live streams every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific time, which focuses on PHP. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Happy to have you here. We focus on PHP, the PHP community, as well as our work lives, which centers around PHP, our business, which centers around PHP, tech, and anything else that comes to mind. If you would like to participate in the live show, you can do so by joining us in our Discord channel at discord.phpugly.com, and just you'll be part of the show just like that. It's kind of a cool thing. We appreciate it. This show is made just a little better thanks to some sponsors, honeybadger.io and PhpStorm, as well as our supporters on Patreon. And we're going to talk about just about all those people a little later in the show. Hopefully not as late as we've been talking about them, but we'll get to that. I am one of your hosts, Eric Van Johnson, and with me tonight is my business partner, John Congdon.
Not a friend anymore, just a business partner.
Glad we got that made clear. And my, I guess, friend, Tom Rideout.
You said you're watching episode 343.
Yeah?
They're probably not watching it. They're probably listening.
Well, they should be watching. That's where all the fun is.
They can watch if they want to, but the numbers don't lie.
You lie. You lie all the time. How's it going, fellas? We got the band back together.
Finally.
About time. Where have you guys been?
Not Hawaii.
So my Hawaii vacation got extended by a week, but not in Hawaii. The long story short, had a nice week vacation planned. We went with some friends from Long Island, New York. My wife and Melissa have been friends since high school or before high school. That's when I met her. So we're almost 30 years in at this point. So we went to Hawaii with them, which was phenomenal. I very rarely go on a vacation where I don't want to return, and it was fantastic. But it turns out that her husband's brother lives nearby, just a couple hours away from us here in San Diego. He's in Palm Springs. And they made a second week out of it. They're both teachers, so they have the summer off, and we're able to just say, we'll just book one way, and then we'll go back when we go back. And since they were so close. They came back to our house afterwards and spent another few days here. So I got a little work in, but not as much as I thought it was.
The idea of going to Palm Springs smack in the middle of summer did not sound like a vacation trip.
That became our vacation spot in the summer during COVID. We don't have a pool, so in the summer we would go for 4 or 5 days, and the kids would just spend the entire day in the pool because you don't want to be outside if you're not in a pool. So it's nice just to rent a house and just be away for a little time, especially in the midst of COVID where you couldn't go anywhere anyway. So it's just a way to get away.
I'm sorry, I missed it, John. Did you say they lived there or they were vacationing there?
So his brother lives there. He runs a business in Palm Springs. So they went to visit him for a few days and then came back to our place on July 4th for a few days. So they started on the 4th, stayed. So we did a few things around town, went to Coronado, went to Del Mar, and then they went back to Palm Springs because his mom also lives there, and she was coming home from I think I don't know if she's in the hospital, but something like that. She's getting up there a little bit, so they went and spent some time with her.
Oh, cool story, bro.
Hey, Woods, you win the title competition again. What can I say?
I need to do something about that guy. I need to change the bot so that his title suggestions never get to the. He can only win a couple times in a row, and then he has to. Tom, how was your week? We already know John didn't do anything.
And you're muted.
While John was gone, we recorded a couple episodes of the podcast.
Marathon episodes, I might add.
What?
Marathon episodes, I might add.
Yes.
Marathon.
Very
long
episodes.
Yeah.
You can't put something in your mouth and then talk. It doesn't work.
It wasn't in my mouth when I first said it. I put myself on mute and put it in my mouth.
Your camera is still glitching on you, actually. So.
Yeah. The whole system, it was like it glitched for a second and your words cut out.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Don't do about that.
So yes, I did listen to your marathon episodes and you guys made me proud. Good job.
Thank you. I've just been working on a lot of eloquent stuff, a lot of scheduling stuff. It's funny. I keep taking these tickets because I love the quality of life fixes, but then I remember that they're users, and like user coding is the hardest kind. Like if you just wanted me to do a math function or something, that'd be fine. But coding around user behavior is always like, why are they doing this? Why would they possibly make this change or ask for this thing? So I'm combining that pleasure with also working on a calendar system for scheduling things, which, as you know, is also really fun to work with and never causes problems.
Especially if you're trying to do recurring stuff and time zone things. So much fun.
Carbon is wonderful for that really bad stuff like recurring things, but still scheduling half-hour, 45-minute blocks across a calendar, it can be exhausting. So a lot of fun with that stuff. Not much else. A lot of TV, video games, movies. The new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is amazing.
Dude, that was a bummer fest. What are you talking about? There's nothing amazing about it.
You don't like crying, cute, furry animals?
No spoilers. Joke.
It's the entire movie is crying, cute, furry things.
Yeah, there's like nothing enjoyable about it.
I'll watch it in a few years, and then we can talk about it.
No, it is so good. It is it is the soundtrack is the best of the three so far.
I agree with you there.
It is just on point. The soundtrack is literally a character in the movie in this one. The Peter Quill's Zune is carried by everyone who's listening to a song when it's playing. It's fantastic. So,
how was your week, John? I gave you a hard time, but how was your week? What did you do?
Well, first I want to talk about I got to paraglide in Hawaii. That was phenomenal.
I was wondering
had so much fun.
Did you get harassed bringing a paraglider onto a plane?
No, it's just another piece of luggage. You just throw it on there and it's good to go. It was so much fun. The week has been good. I got my big project almost done that I started before going on vacation. There was a lot of refactoring done while I was gone, so trying to get my code, it's all around telephony, making phone calls and stuff. So I need to get that back up and working. And then we are starting a new project. Started it today, and so far we are kicking butt and it's going well. Actually starting to use a new service. Have you used PubNub before?
No.
So started using that. I'm not going to talk about it too much because they aren't a sponsor yet. But trying that service out, and hopefully we'll have some more information on that soon. Like pros, cons, what I like, what I don't like.
What does it do?
It's just a queue or a messenger bus, right? You okay there? You publish messages, and then you have listeners out there that are listening for them. I'm using it in is it telephony or telephony? I think it's telephony space.
I've always said telephony.
So basically, when state change, you're dialing, answered, call ended, all that stuff needs to get to the browser. So it's for the last decade plus, we've been using Jabber, which is XMPP, and it works, but it is a single point of failure of the entire system. And moving to something like this is going to be, scale so much better. And supposedly that PubNub is rock solid in their delivery, and their latency is so low. Had a good meeting with them the other day, and just excited about it. I like learning new technology, learning about new things, and this is just one more thing to add in my tool belt. How about you, Eric? What have you been up to?
I have been doing things. I'm wondering if it's my ATM that's glitching, because I see what's glitching. It's my little standby image. That's what keeps glitching too.
Huh.
It's weird. I don't know. Again, audio podcast listeners don't need to worry about it. Just our live viewers and anybody who happens to go back and watch the YouTube video later. So yeah, it's a good time to talk about me here, John, because I want to make sure we touch on one of our sponsors, your favorite sponsor and mine, PhpStorm. Do you want to do I don't have the pitch. Did you notice what I did while you were gone, John?
Yeah, I did notice you clipped my audio.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was funny. It was great.
So you do your thing, man.
I was not prepared for some reason. And
I apologize. No, you had no way of knowing this was coming. Let me make you a big screen here.
Yeah, why not? Because it's been a while since I've done this, and my memory is.
I have a video queued up if you need it.
Well, that would have been good. First of all, thank you, JetBrains, for sponsoring. We love your product. Been using it for years. But PhpStorm is a cutting-edge IDE tailored for PHP and web developers. If you haven't used it before, or it's been a while since you've last tried it, now is a perfect time to check it out again, because it's received significant performance enhancements and an expanded feature set. Curious to see if it's the right fit for you? Head over to www.jetbrains.com/phpstorm to learn more and try it out with a 30-day free trial. Code smarter, not harder.
Cool. That was cool. Good job.
Hey, I like your little sort of lower third.
Yeah. It needs to be a little bit more lower, I guess. But so we've said this for a while. Both John and I have been using PhpStorm for a long time, and I subscribe to, I don't know what they call it, like their all pack or whatever it's called. Like I actually have I can use any of their IDEs basically. The reason I had done it at the time because I was doing some Python programming, so I wanted their Python IDE, and then our client had a Rails application, and it had been so long since I'd even worked on Rails that I wanted to use the Rails IDE. Which, you know what? I don't even know if they still have that. They must still have that IDE, right? Rails is still a thing.
Yeah, I would assume.
But I hadn't used anything in a while, with the exception of PhpStorm, until this week. We have a client. We've been working on a project, and it's a mobile app. And you guys know my absolute love for JavaScript. I hate it with passion, and I still stand by that. But I got into, we're using the framework Ionic, which is a JavaScript framework kind of focused on mobile devices. It allows you to build versions for iOS and Android. And we were just having like this really weird problem where the developer was like, kept insisting that they thought there was something wrong with a service that we had developed. I had coded it, so right there I knew they were wrong. But it had been running for years, and so I was like pretty sure there wasn't anything wrong with the service. But this guy, in to his credit, is our only mobile developer. So when he gets stuck on problems like this, it's really difficult for him to dig his way out of it, because there's just nobody to kind of talk through with it. And, so we kept going back and forth on this. And I was in a weird position because they kept wanting to see if what the server was seeing, like why the server wasn't processing it. So that's kind of where I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to get into this, and I'm going to figure this out, and we're going to move on because we spent too much time on this. So I started with Android Studio because it's an Android app, and I'm like, well, I got Android Studio in my JetBrains toolbox. Let me start with that. And I actually needed it because when Ionic does some of its builds, one of the things it does is try to launch Android Studio. So great, whatever. But as I said, this is an Ionic app. It's actually all done in TypeScript. And Android Studio was saying, hey, maybe you want to use WebStorm for this. That's kind of our JavaScript-focused IDE. I'm like, well, shit, I've got WebStorm. So I pulled that up and started leaning heavily on like code completion and things like that. Also,
crutches?
I'm just going to say,
started leaning on crutches.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I don't know why I am so hesitant to get into JavaScript. It's like so simple. And I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't like it. Oh, actually, I do know why I don't like it. Because it's so freaking fragile, man. I can't believe how fragile it is. With Ionic, you make some changes, but you've got to, build it, or, compile, build the actual application, and like it's not only that things break, because it's like a compiled language, right? If it sees something wrong, it won't compile, and that is kind of a good thing, right? Because you don't send out an application that's busted from the beginning. Whereas with PHP, you could write a broken app and not even know it's broken because you didn't use a static analysis tool or anything like that. So I wasn't getting upset that it wasn't building. I was getting upset because the error message is so generic and doesn't give you any information. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, try running it again with -- verbose. And you do it, and it just gives you the same error message. You look up the error message, and it tells you the obvious. It'll say like, mine had something to do with Gradle couldn't write to a directory or something, something like that. So you do a lookup, and it says, oh yeah, this error message means that Gradle isn't able to write to a directory. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Can you please tell me where you're trying to write?
No. So I got really deep for about 2 days, which really dug into my Symfony learning time. I'm gonna really still a little irritated by that because I was like still loving Symfony, but I had to shelf it here for the last 2 or 3 days as I worked through this other stuff. But I did like a deep dive into this Ionic frameworks, and it's really cool. I mean, I'm happy we had went in this direction, and we couple it with a document store, CouchDB, and a couple other cool little tools that all play together. So it's a slick little setup that we use. But yeah, it just was a real challenge to troubleshoot this issue. And what I ended up doing today, I don't know why I hadn't thought about this yesterday, but what I ended up doing today is I wrote the API endpoint, the thing that I had written, was done in Laravel. So I had just written a middleware that takes all incoming requests and writes it out to a file. So the first thing we did is I got all the build stuff, including building to a phone and everything, set up in my local environment so I could use my local version of the API endpoint, because the version that we have deployed, even in development, is in the AWS environment, Amazon Web Service environment, and it's actually Elastic Beanstalk. So like it's like you can't just log into a server and look at log files and do all of those stuff. It's like, first thing, there's no server. It's a container that you get into, and the log files don't go there. They go to another service, and it's just like, God damn it. I had like a Thanos moment. It's like, all right, I'll do it myself. And so I got everything set up locally. And I like I said, I wrote this middleware, catching all the requests coming in, writing all the information to a file, and it was just like, at that point, I was able to show that you're not sending me anything. So this was all around sending of an image, and like there's no image in the payload, and so that's when we started like really deep diving on what we're missing in the code. And of course, not knowing Ionic or anything like that, I'm looking at all these tutorials and everything on how you upload files, and the developer did it right by all accounts of everything I could see. Did it almost by the book, and it wasn't working. So we had to, this is all today. I'm like, well, they were trying to use the built-in Ionic's HTTP client, which was busted somewhere. I don't know where. And we had the idea of switching over to Axios, which is another HTTP client for JavaScript, and finally got it working. Man, did that feel good. Holy smokes. That felt good.
So you did get it working?
Absolutely. So the cool thing about it is the original application was built for you to send an image, and it did this processing, called out to a couple of services, did some processing, gave you some information back. The developer, I guess, while they're trying to work through all these issues and trying to figure out what the problem is, at some point had base 64 encoded the image, thinking maybe there's a problem with like this file. Maybe if I just make it like a base64 thing, that will work. And it didn't. It was the same issue. But when we had figured it out and got it working, I'm like, okay, well, the service doesn't do base64
decode on it.
Right.
It doesn't. It's expecting a full file, not a encoded
right.
file.
Because again, it's an image file that it then has to send to another service. So I told him, just because I was feeling like kind of big on myself, I'm like, you know what? Let's not worry about it. Just keep it base64 encoded. I'm going to update the endpoint to first figure out if it's base64 or just a regular file. If it's base64, I will make it a file and forward it on, and just you move on. You keep developing. You're done fighting this fire. I'll take it from here. So I got.
So how big did the wildfire get?
It took way longer than I as a owner of the company wanted to see. But
could have just undo that, right? Just put it back.
And the funny thing about it is I because it was all PHP by that time, right? Because it's the back end. I got all that done in like an hour and a half. I think it took me an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm like, hell yeah, that's sweet. So I'm on a little bit of a programming high now, thanks to not only PhpStorm, but a lot of the products, a lot of the IDEs from JetBrains. So thank you very much again.
It all comes back around. Eric,
done.
I want to know about this orange elephant behind you.
Well, I have to point out one thing, though.
It looks like a Mogwai.
Just to point this out, you know that base64 encoding is like 25% larger file sizes.
Not the way this developer did it. So he's actually scaling down the image because we didn't need an image that big. So that's one of the things I did. I compared it because I was saving all the requests from all the previous request submissions. So what they're doing now, the payload is actually smaller. What did you call this thing?
Mogwai.
What is a Mogwai?
Gremlins.
Oh, it's
from the Gremlins.
It looks like a woolly mammoth.
Just the ears was like scream gremlin to me.
Yes, good call there, Tom. It is technically a woolly mammoth. The current wife knows that the elephant is the mascot of PHP. Also embraces the fact that our company color now is orange. Saw this, said, I know it's not a true elephant, but it's elephant-ish and it's orange, and got it for me. And
she's pretty cool.
Is it a squishable?
A what?
A squishable?
I mean, it's soft.
Is it squishy?
No, it's a pillow. It's like a pillow. I don't know what you're saying.
You've not seen the Squishimals thing?
Oh, it is a Squishimals. Yeah,
okay,
it says right there.
Yes.
Does that do something special?
It's just
you just won a prize.
Yeah, sorry, Squishmallow. It's a very popular. It's almost on the sort of Beanie Baby scale of things. It's a very popular limited run stuffed animals company.
Do you know what the hole at the bottom's for?
Yes. Moving on.
Hey, John. John, do you still use your Stream Deck?
I used it at the beginning of the show. If you watch me zoom in on my face, I don't use it as much as I would like to. I would like to use it more.
I didn't know you could do that with it.
Well, on Linux you can.
Zoom out, zoom in, zoom way in. Maybe not.
Mine stopped working. Are you still using Stream Deck?
Yeah.
My Stream Deck completely stopped working.
Huh.
I don't know why. I thought it was an upgrade. I thought it was just
a new one out.
I know. I think I'm gonna have to either upgrade or uninstall and reinstall. I don't know. I was I'm really disappointed because I use mine all the time as my little mute button for one thing. And then I actually have all my Audacity buttons set up on it as well. So after the show, it's one of the things that lets me quickly edit. Is I have all my I just start hitting my Audacity buttons on my Stream Deck. And I can't do that tonight, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Weird.
Oh, that reminds me while I'm talking. And I got a talking to from HR about, I guess I talked too much the last couple of shows and I needed to let other people talk. Okay. But we get the band back together just for one of us to go MIA again. I will be out of town next week and have no. Whoa! What is happening?
I don't know what happened.
It's just happening to you. I'm not seeing anything at all.
Yeah, my system just tried to go to sleep on me, which is weird. But yeah, I'm out of town next week. And will most likely not be in a position to stream. So it's all up to you dudes.
Where are you headed?
I'm going out to I'm literally going out to hang out with Ben Ramsey. I'm going to Nashville, and I know that's Ramsey's stomping grounds, and yeah, so I'm heading out there next week, going to visit some friends, including the person who sold us this house. Our realtor is out there. We're going to catch a minor league game and
really
things too.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What the minor league part surprises you, John?
No, going to visit I don't know the realtors that sold me my houses, and like I wouldn't know their names. I wouldn't know where they live.
Because you're a heartless soul, John. I'm not.
My realtor's name was Nathaniel. I see him every couple weeks.
Why?
Because I met him at the bar.
I don't want to know any more than that.
So I had a couple things on my Trello board from beforehand.
Did you?
I did, believe it or not.
That's weird.
I know.
Actually, John, before you do that, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No worries.
Is this like? Well, I mean, I know we had a few conversations directly after Tech, but this is like the first time you've talked to Tom since Tech, right?
No.
We were on. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was here before he was on before I left.
Okay, cool.
It's time flies. It's been a while since Tech.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah,
we're already in the planning phases for next year,
and it's coming together splendidly. It's going to be bigger and better.
I have questions for you. We need to talk tomorrow, so I can reply to that person.
Okay.
You've used Redis before, I'm assuming. I've always used it as a cache as a key value store.
Which is what it is. Yeah.
It's way more than that. It can actually store data sets, which was amazing. Okay, so I needed to store an array of data, right? And the whole thing was the database was just being hammered for this one query. It was taking a while, and when multiple people on a team were hitting with the same query, it just made the issue way worse. So I said, all right, let me handle this by selecting a group of items, doing some locking so they're not stampeding the database. I was requesting 25 at a time already. Just the way I was processing the data, it was, give me 25. I'm going to see if I can call any of these people. If not, I'll get the next 25. So now I'm grabbing the first 100 and putting the data into a Redis set or a hash set, Redis set. Prior to that, I was serializing the array, putting it into a key value store. On the other side, pulling it out, unserializing it, doing my same processing, having to remove the key, reserialize, and put it back into Redis. It turns out Redis can deal with sets very well, where you can do pops, pushes, or removing specific keys. So now I can just grab one off the set, see if it works. If it does, remove just that one key. I'm not having to do this whole serialize, unserialize dance back and forth. It was actually pretty slick, to the point which I think it would be a great article for PHP Architect magazine. So if anyone wants to write an article on it, not me, I think it would be a fantastic article. But if nobody steps up to do it, I'm sure I will write one at some point.
I've actually started on a data store article just because I can't get anybody. I've asked several people to write one, and nobody wants to write one. So I've started kind of collecting a lot of thoughts around it, specifically targeted at CouchDB, which is the one I'm kind of partial towards. So I might have to polish that up. But hey, if what we're talking about as far as writing articles is so John and I are the people behind PHP Architect magazine. Well, a couple of the people. There's a big old team of PHP Architect people now. But if you are interested in writing for us, feel free to reach out and let us know. We do pay for feature articles. Well, we pay for anything. Anybody who writes for us gets paid. So when you read our magazine and you ask, why do I have to pay for the magazine? That's why. Because everybody in that magazine gets paid, and you just help make the PHP community a little better by doing that. But you can also get paid. So just reach out to John and I, or just go to the website and click on Write About Us and start the process. What's the email? Write at PHP Arch?
Yep. WRITE at phparch.com.
And I mean, just bounce the ideas off us. It's a very laid back thing. We you actually steer the whole time. You let us know when you can get it to us, and we plan around that.
All we ask is that if you tell us a date, you stick to the date.
Yes, it's very laid back. 28 days of the month, and then there's 2 days where it's not as laid back.
Well, I'm happy because I'm feeling like we're getting back on track. So things really started to slip as we built up to tech, just because everybody was busy doing things and articles kept coming in a little later. And
you say that, but it's July 13th and we're not ready yet. Like we really wanted this done 2 weeks ago.
Right. But I think we're getting back on track is what he said. So we have everybody's turned in except for one person has turned in their article. So it's just a matter of pushing it through the publishing stage. And the big challenge right now is getting next month's article in the next week, right? So that we can start working on that. It's always hard, because you feel bad because we pay, but we don't pay that much. And you don't want to take that much time away from the people who are contributing. So it's like, we try to be very patient, but we got to get better, and we just let it slip too much. Where John and I were literally releasing with only hours left in the month. It's like, oh, we can't do this.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get July turned out in the next week, and then
that'd be nice.
August right behind that.
Okay,
phenomenal.
Let's take a moment. Oh, you talked about Redis. Redis actually came to our rescue at PHP Tech. We ended up using Redis. That was some of that cowboy coding we did because things were getting hit too hard, and we implemented a little Redis and used that, which worked out splendidly. We're very happy. But the other thing that came to our rescue and helped us was our next sponsor, honeybadger.io. And now, a word from our sponsors. Classic Tom. That did look infected, however. You probably should have somebody look at it. Oh, hi! If you know me, you know I'm somebody who literally wears a lot of hats. I'm a podcaster, a publisher, and a coder. What I'm not is somebody who has a lot of time worrying if their site is giving their users problems. That's why I use Honeybadger. Now, let's be honest. Honeybadger is a sponsor of the podcast, but that's not why I feel good talking about them. I've been using Honeybadger for years and couldn't be happier. Honeybadger has a suite of monitoring tools specialized for developers. It's the only system that combines monitoring, uptime, and cron heartbeat monitoring into a clean, fast interface. Honeybadger offers a generous, free tier, and with just 2 lines of code in about 5 minutes, you can start monitoring your application. Personally or professionally, it works for everybody. Honeybadger can help you identify and fix problems sometimes before the user even knows there's an issue with your site. And at no cost to sign up, it's literally free for peace of mind. So go over to honeybadger.io and sign up for a free account today. What's going to hurt? If somebody asks you, tell them the Ugly Squad sent you. Now I got to get back to podcasting. I got these co-hosts I need to talk to. And they are co-hosts. I don't care what anybody says. I'm the host because I'm cooler than all of them. Thank you, Honeybadger. Guys, don't be rude. Thank Honeybadger. Ugh.
Thank you, Honeybadger. Still love that.
Now,
did somebody say you were squeaky or
Redis,
something?
Staying on the Redis thread.
A-Woods.
I ran into...
He's been added to the list.
Yeah, don't listen to that guy.
I ran into an interesting Redis issue where...
He's never contributed anyway. Go ahead, Tom. Don't let me interrupt you.
I ran into an interesting Redis issue where someone had pushed out code where you could do wildcard key selection and deletion for cache cleaning behaviors, and it was pointed out very quickly that that does not work on clusters. The Redis clusters store data in different places, and when you query against it, it's only on the cluster you're on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
When you use the keys query specifically, which allows you to do wildcard selection of keys, only gives you your current cluster.
But you can get data from any cluster?
Yes.
I'm confused.
How do you get the data?
Oh, so when you do a get, it will search the entire cluster, but when you do keys, it's whatever
keys are on the cluster you're on. When you say cluster, do you mean the one machine of that cluster? Right. When you're on one instance, keys will not give you all of the keys for every instance. It will just give you that instance. Is there a way to get the keys from all the instances? I believe the solution came down to a sync keyword that allowed you to do a similar search behavior, but I'm not sure. I'd have to pull that back up. I only have 100 Slack channels to search through. No, that's interesting. I mean, I'm assuming you're using the cluster. Are you using the AWS Redis cluster? I believe so. I'm not sure though. I mean, I haven't done that. I've done keys, but it's always been locally when I've been doing things. I've never done it within a cluster, so I never even thought to look for that. So, scan is the correct command to use here. And there's also an mget method. Multi-get, right? That'll get you a bunch of data at once, or get you data from multiple keys at once. Right, and it will let you set that wildcard, and you just grab the keys from the results instead of the actual results. So, interesting. Redis does way more than I thought it did. That's all I gotta say. I need somebody to write articles so I can learn more. That's the way it works. All right. A couple weeks ago, somebody in our community wrote a phenomenal little post, and they posted it on LinkedIn. And I don't do a lot on LinkedIn, and I should. On LinkedIn?
Because
people that do
Twitter
business,
sucks.
Yeah, people that do business tend to post there. Our friend in Discord, Dimitri, wrote an entire post on a discovery week which
Oh, right. I did read this. I
yeah.
forgot to talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically his team or the entire team at the company took 1 week and said, okay, we're going to pause any product work. We're not going to work on we're in a sprint or however they are doing their project management. It's we're going to take a week. The team, everyone can learn something on their own, preferably something that helps the business. So for me, I had something similar in the past and wanted to learn more about event sourcing because I knew it could be used within the product that I'm working on, right? So he just talks about how that went, and some people worked on UX stuff, other people tried to figure out Chat GPT and how to implement that or use some of that within their code base. And the conclusions come down to everyone felt good. Vacations are great. You get time to decompress and get away, but something like this is not as good, but is a good motivator to people. Well, it's not
As
usual,
the guy
right?
who just got back from Hawaii, I wouldn't say it's as good as Hawaii.
It's not as good as Hawaii, but getting away from your everyday, like I have to work on this product or this ticket for the next 2 days, being able to learn something new, because when you're just constantly hammered into working on your product as it is or a new feature or whatever it is, you're not necessarily learning something new. So something like this gives you that opportunity to better yourselves, learn something new that is good for you and good for the business. And as he says, it's not going to be their last time, hopefully. That's the hard part, getting something like this through management, right? But telling management, hey, the entire dev team is going to take a week and we're not going to build something you want us to build. We're going to learn something and maybe get something out of it for you, but we can't guarantee it.
Yeah, you might as well say like the dev team's going to play with Legos for a week.
Right.
Like, no, we'll learn really cool stuff about Legos.
So that's interesting. You should say that, John, because you're in a very unique situation, unique spot. Well, first thing, I know you have your little book club, whatever, with your client, but you're in a unique position to allow this to a bunch of employees. What? I mean, you just raged how it's almost as good as going to Hawaii.
No, I like the idea of taking time for something like this. So
yeah,
he likes
it's
the
hard.
idea of other companies doing it.
No, so it's hard. I like the idea of companies bringing their teams to PHP Tech and doing something very similar, where you spend some time learning and then take a day or two to do something like this, where you put that stuff into practice.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's hard because our team is running tech, so it's not as much of a learning slash.
It's not only that we're running tech; it's
discovery thing.
The biggest chunk of our business is client work, right? And so it's basically asking your client, hey, we need to put you on hold for a day, 2 days. I mean, I don't see we could ever do it for a week, but because we want to do this thing, it's just, I mean, I don't know what Dimitri's situation is as far as if they do client work or not, but
no, I think they're an in-house team.
Yeah, it's hard. I love it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we could, not for a week, like you said. I think we could take a day or two and say, hey, our team is going to focus on this for a day, and we'll be available for emergencies or whatever. But here's how what we're gonna do is going to benefit you next week.
I
say charge them for it.
More than that. I like the whole open source day. Like every Friday, everybody gets to work on open source projects. Ideally, open source projects that are related to the company. Like if we use a telephony system, we work on an open source project that's related to that telephony system or something, or just build packages or something. I've for a very long time wanted to get in a position to do that, and I don't know, it's just a matter of pulling the trigger, because like Friday, I'm a big proponent of Fridays should be downtime anyways. Like nobody should be deploying on Fridays. I know that's a big, oh, that's such a stupid thing to say. Everybody can, if you have a good pipeline, it's not a problem. No, fine. Not a problem for you. I don't want to deal with it, you know? But I think Fridays is just like, you're either putting out a fire or your people should be making themselves better. Like either working on the open source stuff or something like this or book club or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree on the whole don't deploy on Friday. There's one thing if you have really close to 100% code coverage and you have so much confidence in once it's merged, it's gone through so many tests that if something breaks, it's going to be caught immediately. But I don't see why you would, especially if you take weekends off. It's different if you've got teams on rotation that work 7 days a week, right? But if you value your weekends, why even risk it?
Exactly.
When you can control it, there's no reason to risk it.
You know what I do value? Our supporters on Patreon.
Yeah.
Those fireworks are way better than the ones I saw.
What's that?
Those fireworks are way better than the ones I saw on the 4th.
I am not a fireworks person. I've never been a fan of fireworks. I mean, they're okay to look at for, you know, like a little while, but like I don't particularly want to stand somewhere for an hour and listen to it. Even as a
San
kid,
Diego really solved that problem by launching all of the
like 15 minutes. Yeah. That was awesome.
It's a 30-minute show in 15 seconds.
Yeah, just not a fan. I mean, I got to see a lot of fireworks when I lived. I used to live in Ocean Beach. So first thing, Ocean Beach used to have one of the absolute coolest firework displays here in San Diego, I always felt. But not only did they have that, but SeaWorld was not too far away. And during the summertime, I don't know if they still do, but during the summertime, they had fireworks every night. And so literally every night you could see fireworks. And now the drones thing, I love. So I guess OB, that they used to fire off their fireworks at the end of this huge pier. And that pier has suffered a lot of damage over the years. And it's, I guess, currently shut down. So instead of fireworks this year, they did a whole drone display, which I didn't see, but I heard it was pretty awesome. But I did see, like, did you guys see the dragon in China?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so cool. So yeah. All right. That's it. And if you don't understand why fireworks in July, it's a U.S. holiday, kind of when we declared our independence and everything. So
we always go to a little park that overlooks the fairgrounds, so we're far enough away that you're not in a big crowd. I mean, there's a lot of people there at night, but it's not during the day. We just hang out at the park. We'll play yard games like frisbee or soccer, throw a ball around, and then stick around for fireworks. And this happened years ago. Then the past few years have been fine. And then it happened again this year when we had friends in town. Cloud layer, very low. Fireworks go up, not to the clouds, but there's nowhere for the smoke to go from them exploding. Yeah. So it just gets socked in. And every other one that goes up is just in its own smoke. And you're like, okay, can't see anything. This was a waste of time. It was so bad.
Speaking of open source, everybody's first Linux love, SUSE Linux, has forked Red Hat Enterprise Linux.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what about SUSE Linux? I mean, is that going to be the new SUSE?
I'm not quite sure. So this is in response to Red Hat closing off their RHEL GitHub server. So previously, you could grab the source code for the RHEL system either from CentOS or from logging into Red Hat's system or through a GitHub distribution. Now, the GitHub distribution was used by a lot of groups like Alma Linux or Rocky Linux to do auto builds, and they would advertise as bug-for-bug match fixes to Red Hat. So if you got Alma, you were running just as good as whatever Red Hat was. Red Hat didn't like that, so they sort of shut down this auto build pipeline. And SUSE has come up now and said, hey, we don't like that, so we're going to fork Red Hat and clone it over to our fork, and whatever you pull from our Red Hat clone will be bug for bug matching the official RHEL source.
But how are they getting the official RHEL source? RHEL, R-H-E-L being Red Hat Enterprise Linux, right?
Yes. They are getting it, I believe, through the hard way, which is logging in as into the Red Hat Linux website and pulling the source from there.
Oh, so they didn't shut that down. You can still do that.
You can still get the source. It would be very illegal for them to not still continue to distribute the source. The reason for that being that they are under the GPL license, and the GPL says, hey, if you distribute modified versions of our software, of this software, you are required to provide source code for all the changes you made. It's one of the ground rules, one of the foundations of open source development is that if you take something and sell it, you have to give what you sold back to the community. So Red Hat is sort of dancing around exactly how you have to give it back to the community and making it more difficult. But yeah, SUSE, which I had not heard of in years, maybe 10 years, has come in.
SUSE?
SUSE. They're the little chameleon that could. So, I mean, this is something that's been developing over the last 3-4 weeks, and whatever comes up next, we'll see. We'll let you know about it. But the Red Hat people are probably going to be upset.
So I talked about how much Twitter is becoming more and more of a dumpster fire earlier. Still digging Threads. I'm liking where Threads is going. Think it's a good idea. If you know,
you're using it?
I do, yeah. The only issue I have with Threads right now is it doesn't have a web interface. So I sit at my desk all the time. So it's I when I'm out and about, I go and look. I haven't actually I don't know if I posted there yet, because I just don't know how to start. It's so weird. Like, how do I start posting here? Like, I can't cross post, so I'm not posting on Twitter anymore.
So is it just a phone app?
Yeah.
I know of it. I just don't know. I haven't looked into it at all.
Yeah, it's a phone app. And then if you have an Instagram account, you have a Threads account. Your username becomes your Threads username, and it works really well. A lot of people on there, a lot of good conversations going on. So I'm liking it. But I still pop on Twitter every now and then. And like I said, like it's just gotten so hard to read Twitter or read Twitter anymore. And now I guess if you're a what do they call it? Blue, not blue. What's the people called?
Twitter Blue?
Is it
I don't know.
Twitter Blue.
Twitter Blue. If you're a Twitter Blue person, I guess certain Twitter Blue people now have a new feature called they can post a note, which instead of a tweet, which is whatever 200 and whatever characters,
244, wasn't it?
something like that. A note is like 2,000 characters. So you open up your Twitter and like there's this massive post from somebody. It's like, what the hell? Like that's not what Twitter is. No, what the hell? So stupid. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's It's weird out there. Twitter apparently paid out $10,000 to an ultra right-wing fascist tweet person for their part of their ad share revenue thing, or the revenue share ads.
What?
So people are unhappy about that. Twitter is doing ad revenue share now with their top viewed accounts. And it turns out that one of the top viewed accounts is, fascist.
Really?
So,
Imagine that.
not great. But on the other side of that, there's some interesting discussion about Threads because it's super moderated. I mean,
is
basically, it? Basically, Zuckerberg said, I want this to be a family-friendly platform, which is a very different take than Twitter, which is I want a free speech absolutist platform, which is not family-friendly.
And a corporate-sponsored.
Right. So Threads is really family-friendly. Hate speech of any kind gets you banned just real fast. It's got Twitter's moderation team behind it. It's got Facebook's moderation team behind it, which is a historically very reliable moderation team compared to other sites that don't have a moderation team anymore. And it's very advertiser-friendly, which is the problem that Twitter's having right now. So it's not outside of basic logic that Threads is going to surpass Twitter very, very quickly, not just in user counts, but in actual financial, income.
Yeah, I mean, already there's a, for better or for worse, there's a lot of commercial accounts on Threads, and it's like,
Is PHP Architect one of them?
Does PHP Architect have an Instagram account?
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
I don't do Instagram.
I don't. we should see, because I mean we have a Facebook. I don't know how that works. We should
Of course,
figure
those
that
good
out.
business people.
That's one of the interesting.
I wish one of us had kids.
One of the interesting advantages of Threads, especially for businesses, is that a lot of large businesses already had Instagram accounts, and when they move over into Threads, now they have the exact same following that they already had. If you're already subscribed to Wendy's on Instagram, then you get the Wendy's Threads feed.
I don't think so. I only say that because I know I had to follow friends that I already follow on Instagram.
So I just did it, and there was a follow all real quick. Boom. No, I'm automatically following everybody.
Right.
Okay, so it's an optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, the Threads is quickly hitting critical mass, right? I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like they are just going to have they're going to take a huge chunk out of that pie of social media. And I mean, it's just continuing to grow the meta empire, which isn't necessarily a really good thing, but whatever.
Yeah. I'm also fully on board with Zuckerberg beating the ever-living shit out of Elon Musk.
The guy's pretty jacked now. He could probably do it.
It's very strange because the picture of him without a shirt on, it looks more human than when he's just talking to people. Like,
you have a lot of pictures of Zuck without his shirt on there, Tom.
I have a folder.
Top secret. Don't open.
Yeah, you don't have the Zuckerberg Banaka all over his entire face picture saved. The zinc. He's got that zinc guard that you're supposed to put on your nose, but he goes out windsurfing or kite surfing or whatever, and it's on his entire face. His face is ghost white. It's excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know what you're talking about, but I believe you.
Well, so I don't know if John heard about this, but there was a challenge put out by Elon Musk to cage fight Mark Zuckerberg.
I saw
Wait, what?
meme. I saw a meme or a picture with them two with boxing gloves, but I didn't
Yes.
think it was a thing.
It's 100% a thing. Mark Zuckerberg put it out there because Elon Musk put it out because Zuckerberg slam dunked on Twitter and has been just roasting Elon Musk every given chance for the last
You are
couple
being
years.
serious.
I'm dead serious. And so what happened? The most Elon Musk thing you could imagine happened, which was his mom got on Twitter and said he's not allowed to fight Mark Zuckerberg. Which, wow, amazing.
Oh, here's a picture. Oh, let me make that makes it. Dude is jacked, man. Here, let me share my screen. Here's Mark Zuckerberg. Dude is jacked. Look at him. Kind of cut there. Yeah, look at that. All right, good for him.
If you're a billionaire, and you could take all the time you wanted to get jacked too.
I know, right?
Yeah, so Zuckerberg has this health kick that he went on that I guess is still going, and he fought in a jiu-jitsu tournament, won gold and silver, and
what?
Yeah. So he's a big Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, and I guess Elon Musk didn't realize that or understand that when he challenged him, because Zuckerberg was like, "Absolutely, I will fucking destroy you." So after having pulled out,
he responded with "Send me location."
Yes, send me location. Elon Musk said Vegas, the Octagon in Vegas. But since that sort of seems to have fallen apart, Elon Musk has resorted all the way down to just a literal dick measuring contest.
A literal dick measuring contest?
A literal dick measuring contest. And I'm guessing by the quality of the hair on his head that he will have cheated at that one as well.
Here's a good a decent side by side here.
The Yacht Elon versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Zuckerberg. Can't wait for the fight. I will absolutely pay to watch it.
Oh man, millionaires being silly. All right,
isn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Billionaires.
I don't want to know what Kalen is talking about.
Yeah, boy, Kalen's trying to steal the show from us here.
Wow, that is
that's quite the statement, Kalen.
Don't know why that would be.
All right, Citizen 86.
I think we're good, man. Are we good? We wrap this up.
Good. Do we have much PHP news today? I've got a little bit. I've got a little bit of news.
You can't say you're ready to wrap up and then try and keep going.
This doesn't count as PHP news, and yes, if you've ever watched the show, that is exactly how I operate. Emojis in Canada have been ruled legally binding. So this comes from a case where someone was selling flaxseed and told the vendor told them, hey, texted them, hey, this is your order. Is that cool? And their response was thumbs up. Just the thumbs up emoji. So they made the giant order of flaxseed. In the meantime, the price tripled for flaxseed, and the buyer backed out of the handshake emoji contract, I guess, would be the... So this went all the way up to the Canadian, I guess, Supreme Court, and the court said, Yeah, a thumbs up emoji is 100% interpreted by the recipient as an approval to move forward on a contract. So it's just like a verbal contract. It's just like a handshake contract. You have to abide by it.
Is it though?
But the argument on the other side was, I was just confirming that I received his message and was going to review the order, not that I had agreed to the contract.
I can see where this is going. It's like, yes, your husband did cheat on you. He clearly sent a eggplant emoji to that girl, basically having sex with her.
I didn't go that direction with it, oddly enough. I'm not sure why you would immediately jump to adultery, but so it's a crazy case that I don't know. The distinction between the eyes emoji, meaning that you're looking, and the thumbs up emoji, you know, I believe that there was a history of them texting each other in the past, and he had used the eyes emoji to confirm that he was looking at a contract, and a thumbs up to confirm a contract in the past. And that's why this was interpreted the way it was in court. And even though the headline says, you know, emojis legally binding, I think you're going to have a court case every time something like this happens.
It's different if there is a history of it, as you're saying there is. I obviously haven't read the story, I don't know, but even then, I would think a contract needs to be signed, not verbal. I don't know.
I'm not too familiar with contract law in Canada. I mean, honestly, in America either. Vietnam, really good at contract law. Don't know why. Yeah.
All right. I don't know how that was PHP related, but
That's tech.
you're like, I got PHP news. Emojis are legally binding, huh?
Our Canadian in Discord has informed me that it is legally binding in Canada if it's witnessed by a moose.
All right, that's it. I'm wrapping it up. We're bringing mooses into this. I can't have that. I can't have
mooses, or is it meese?
Mice?
It is mooses.
Moose?
It's just
This
moose,
has
isn't
been
it?
episode 343. I'm Eric.
343. I thought it was 3. I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Keep
Keep
it
it
ugly.
Ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send
your
a shout out to
titles
the host
in.
named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host name Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.